Even if I was, I wouldn't say so.
Every time I go in the office, I say, "Where's Paul?" They say, "Oh, we don't know."
Great to be here. Support the Green Party in Elizabeth May.
Woo! Thank you! Woo!
Why am I here today? Not just because I support the Green Party, but I'm here because I've been invited. I've been invited to follow proper protocol that my ancestors have been doing for thousands and thousands of years. And for that, I am grateful. I am humbled. I am appreciative. I'm grateful to stand here and represent for those ancestors, to say thank you, Haitzapka, to each of you for doing the work that you do, not just for caring, but for acting, and acting with compassion and kindness and with passion and dedication, because that is what's going to change this world to what it was always meant to be. I was just chatting. I'm starting to get more sincere curiosity, but also challenges of why are you out there so publicly supporting the Green Party? And my answer is this. My answer is that it's the same reason I work with Greenpeace, for which I have been challenged, but it's where my heart is, number one. I support Green because every Green candidate and every Green supporter is a human first. I support Green because Green is making real forward steps to work with and be inclusive, and not just to the First Nations, but yes, to the First Nations. And that does mean a lot to me, because this government across Turtle Island has never represented who I am or who my ancestors are. Green is the best chance for me to accurately be represented and for my ancestors to be accurately represented. And as I've been saying, they're the only party already not compromising on what is the single biggest issue to me, even over the murdered and missing women, which affects me in my life every day. The single biggest issue to me is protecting all life on this land, because all life is sacred. Green is the only party already willing to stand up and say no to the tank lines and tankers and pipelines. Holy cow. Because if we don't protect this land and all the life on it, everything else is done for. And I don't say that in any purely emphatic way just for shock value. That is the truth. So the work that my ancestors have done, being stewards of and caring for this land for over 10,000 years, Green Party is the best shot to keep that work going. So that's why I support the Green Party. And I know we each have our own paths and our own experiences that bring us to where we are today. So I say thank you for being here. I say thank you for caring. Again, thank you for acting. Thank you for representing in a way that I can stand behind you 100%. My God, I love those women and I love those men.
We've made history. The Green Party continues to grow and evolve and develop, and we've proven to Canada that we are not a one-issue party and that we're not a one-person party, as Elizabeth has said. We have not been shut out of debates, despite Harper and his cronies trying. We have been here every step of the way, pushing for a more robust discourse about the major issues that we face in Canada, thanks to the leadership of Elizabeth May, and thanks to the incredible cast of candidates that this party has been able to attract here this year. I'm incredibly proud to be a part of this cohort of candidates this year. And make no mistake, we are poised to send a green surge of support to Parliament to get Canadian democracy back on track in this country. And it's thanks to you, thanks to everyone who has ever cast a vote for the Green Party of Canada, for your candidate and your riding. Years and years and years of building to this moment, a long, proud tradition and history of green politics in Canada that has learned from examples from around the world, from Germany, from New Zealand, from Sweden, from elsewhere. We've got the ideas, we've got the people, and now we have the momentum. So thank you for being a part of that.
Vancouver East, welcome to the home of West Reagan. They can hear us in Vancouver Centre. They can probably hear us in North Van right now. Welcome everybody, welcome back. Welcome to the best darn party that Canada has ever seen. You know, it's fantastic to be here with a bunch of candidates that honestly inspire me. They make me feel like my voice resonates. They're collaborative. We work well together as a team. Can you imagine a bunch of MPs that collaborate and work well? Oh, go figure what we can do when we get into Parliament. In my riding in particular, one of our competitors calls himself a green Liberal. And the NDP lady calls herself a green NDP, which is quite an honour. I'm a green. I don't need that little hyphen anywhere. I'm a green. And if you are a green Liberal or you are a green NDP, you know what? This is where you belong, because you have a stronger voice here. You won't have a leader that won't stand up for you. You won't have a leader that will change decisions on you. You won't have a leader that will talk about the process. You will have a leader that says no pipelines, better climate action, no C51, let's change how we vote, and it goes on. I've even brought notes because I'm speaking in front of the leader and I've got to be good this time. You know, when I hear people talk about the Greens possibly not willing a majority government, I'll concede that. I don't think Greens will win the majority. You can have, if you didn't get that on camera, I'll say it on camera, okay? Don't think we're going to win a majority. That's not the point. In a minority government, we will be that collaborative, conciliatory voice that will get Canada back working. We're even being told that we can cross party lines to get Canada working. Can you imagine how wonderful that will be?
Okay, thank you all for coming out. Wow, this is great. What a beautiful fall day we have with our clear blue sky and our clean air and our clean seas. We live in such a great place. I'm Lynn Quarmby. I'm a research scientist. Yeah, science. So we've been hitting hard under the Harper rule. So I am a professor up at Simon Fraser University. For the past 3 years, I've been chair of the Department of Molecular Biology and Biochemistry. And I do research into the molecular machines of life. It's really pretty fascinating stuff. I love it. It's been an amazing career. I'm deeply indebted to the women that went before me that opened up this space that I could have such a rewarding career. I've enjoyed it a great deal, and I still do, and I still have a deep passion for science. So what am I doing here? Well, that deep passion for science comes with a reverence for the real world. It is where I find sacredness. And what I have observed happening in Ottawa is a complete disrespect for what I consider sacred, a complete disregard for what we have learned about our natural world. And I was first moved to action by the disregard for climate change. The fact that climate change is here. We are seeing it today in our extreme weather patterns, and we are seeing it right here. Although it's not visible to our eyes, our Salish Sea has become so acidic that we are losing planktonic species. We're losing species at a faster rate than has ever happened before. And among that plankton are the larvae of things like shellfish. Beaches here that once had 4 species of clams now have a single species. It's here, it's real. We know that people around the world are suffering. We know that underlying the current refugee crisis in Syria is a 5-year drought where people from the country were forced to migrate into cities and causing a lot of civil unrest that has underlined the roots of the civil war there. For decades, climate scientists have been predicting these droughts in North Africa and in the Middle East. And social scientists have been predicting the social unrest that would come from those droughts. So to where I stand, inaction on climate change is immoral. So I'm standing to run for the Green Party. I am setting aside my science because I am so impressed, so excited by the bold vision that the Green Party has to address both climate change and that intertwined, interrelated thing of social inequality. Because make no mistake, the deep reasons that we have not taken action on climate change are the same reasons that we are not taking action on social inequality, and that social inequality is getting worse. And I'm here to tell you that the Green Party, we can all be very proud, is the only party that has the kind of bold visions we need for that change. That's why we need some Green MPs in Ottawa to support Elizabeth May, who has done absolutely amazing work in the past 4 years. She needs some help. So thank you very much for coming here.
Thank you, all of you, for being here today. Is this not a beautiful group of people? I want to thank my sister Audrey Siegel for the honor of welcoming us to Musqueam territory. And I don't think I've ever felt an honor as profound. I think I felt it right through my solar plexus and right out through the bottom of my feet. The idea that we as Greens could do honor to the work of our ancestors and keep doing it. That's a profound and sacred obligation, and I take that obligation seriously. We stand for this place. We know this place is sacred. We know that this is, as Lynn says, a moral question, a spiritual challenge. Are we in our generation prepared to take seriously the idea that we have no right to steal from our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren, our great-great-grandchildren? There's never been an election campaign in Canada so impervious to the messages of world leaders who are calling for governments to step up to fight the climate crisis. We are impervious, it seems, whether it's Pope Francis or the governor of the Bank of England. We're being told by the head of the IMF, did you know that? Christine Lagarde said, if we ignore the climate crisis, future generations will be roasted, toasted, fried, and grilled. That's the IMF. When the IMF and the World Bank are more radical than your own government, you know something's very wrong. I know why they didn't want me in any leaders' debates. I might have some inconvenient truths. Nous sommes comme un mouvement, nous sommes comme un parti ensemble avec un engagement profond. On doit agir contre la crise climatique, on doit agir contre les menaces de réchauffement de la Terre. This is a challenge that we take at our core, and we know that an aspect of fueling the climate crisis is the unlimited acceleration and growth of oil sands production. They're not separate issues. They are linked. And no set of panel processes, no improved NEB, no rehabilitated environmental assessment process is going to make it okay to put the Kinder Morgan pipeline through Burnaby Mountain, to fill tankers out Gerard Inlet. Every single pipeline proposed in this country, every single pipeline, whether it's Keystone running south or Energy East running east. Oh, and by the way, the big lie, you'll hear politicians say, I won't mention who they are, but they say, well, Energy East is great because it's taking Alberta bitumen east towards refineries. Do you know what's wrong with that proposition? None of those refineries can process bitumen. Let that sink in. They want to run pipelines east for the same reason they want to run pipelines west, to put it in tankers, to ship it to other countries for refineries there, which, by the way, don't run to the same environmental standards as refineries in Canada. So bitumen mixed with diluent is the substance in Keystone, Energy East, Enbridge, and Kinder Morgan. It's a substance when a pipeline breaks that no one can clean up. That's another inconvenient truth. Bitumen mixed with diluent can't be cleaned up. It's worse than crude. We found that out when Enbridge pumped bitumen mixed with diluent into the Kalamazoo River. The U.S. regulatory authorities labeled Enbridge's culture a culture of negligence. That was the U.S. government in analyzing what happened in Kalamazoo, Michigan. And now we have Kinder Morgan with the proposal to put 7 times more Aframax tankers out our port of Vancouver and Burnaby and up past southern Vancouver Island, Saanich Gulf Islands, through the Salish Sea, through the territory of the Wasatch people who have never been consulted. We will be firm in our resolve. We are firm in our resolve. We understand that a message of no to bitumen diluent pipelines and no to bitumen diluent tankers and no to crude oil tankers is yes to our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren, saying yes to the solar panels behind me, saying yes to clean and renewable energy, saying yes to an economy that functions and employs more people without threatening the future of our own kids. We're saying yes to the clean technology industry that already employs more people in Canada than the oil sands. We're saying yes. We say yes to justice. We say yes to ending poverty. We say yes to education, that every kid in Canada has a right to go to school and not end up with a debt that crushes their future. We say yes. We say yes to our healthcare system. We say yes to expanding it. And we say yes to a future built on common sense, human decency, and please, evidence. We say yes to science. We say we have to come back and employ the scientists that Stephen Harper fired. We have to take off the gags and the muzzles. We say yes, believe it or not. Who thought, in all my life, I never thought this would be like a radical political statement. We say yes to statistics. Bring back the long-form census. Let's have the information that tells us that we see a growing gap between the richest and the poorest, that there's something wrong with knowing that 84 wealthiest families in Canada have the same combined wealth as 11.4 million Canadians at the bottom end of the pyramid. We say yes to truth, justice, reconciliation, and healing with the First Nations, the Métis, and the Inuit. We say we need to make change in the way we make decisions in Canada. We want to sit around the same table. We call it the Council of Canadian Governments, federal government, provincial, territorial, representation of our big city mayors. And by the way, God bless Naheed Nenshi for standing up for human decency, human rights. And at that same table, First Nations, Métis, and Inuit leadership together. There's nothing we can't do as a country when we do it together. Across party lines, across jurisdictional boundaries, Greens stand firm for a beautiful future, for a Canada that accomplishes absolutely anything and everything for the well-being of all, because we know we can do it when we work together. Ensemble, ensemble, nous pouvons changer tout. Ensemble, nous pouvons changer la politique au Canada for good. We can change the climate in Parliament. We can take a toxic mess and the way we like to do, we can clean it up. So speaking to all of you here today, it's my great honor to move from talking about why you should be electing Greens, and my colleagues Claire and Wes and Lynn have made it clear, but let me really underscore this. The best way to see the end of Stephen Harper's reign is for in every riding where you know the Green Party candidate is your best choice, where you know the Green Party candidate has an excellent chance to win. In those ridings, and that's everywhere in BC, in those ridings, do not let someone make you afraid. Do not let someone tell you that you're not entitled to vote for what you want. Don't let anyone try to tell you that you're doing the wrong thing by voting for the best candidate. This is a democracy, and we will take back this country when we get every single Canadian, including our young people, our marginalized, First Nations, every single Canadian, particularly the 40% of Canadians who didn't vote in the last election. Reach out and find them between now and October 19th. In fact, reach out and find them before next weekend. Because if they haven't voted for a while, chances are getting them registered is going to take a bit of extra work. Don't leave it to the last minute. Find everyone you know who doesn't plan to vote and get them to the polls. You don't even have to ask them how they're going to vote. You know they're not Harper fans, right? Find everyone you know, and if they say my vote doesn't count, ask them then, if your vote doesn't count, why do you think Stephen Harper went to so much trouble to make it harder for you to vote? The Unfair Elections Act was targeted at making it harder for Canadian young people and students and First Nations and marginalized and homeless and anyone who just gave up a driver's license. It'll make it harder for people to vote if they've recently moved. Don't take a chance. Find everyone you know and get them to the polls. Because we believe, again, heart, mind, and soul, in the power of a democratic society of engaged, caring, committed, compassionate people. And that is the definition of Canadians. So, simple prescription for happiness. Get yourself to the polls. Bring your friends to the polls. And if you haven't already started doing it, contact one of these wonderful candidates up here on stage with me and volunteer in their campaigns. Knock on doors in North Vancouver. Knock on doors in East Vancouver. Knock on doors in West Vancouver. Knock on doors on Burnaby, North Seymour. Knock on the door and say to the person who opens that door, have I got good news for you? You can finally vote for someone that you can believe in. You can vote for someone who will work for you. You can choose to vote for the best candidate and elect that candidate and have a Green Party MP working for you and repairing the damage done by Stephen Harper and moving forward to the climate negotiations in Paris in December, moving forward to block the pipelines, moving forward to defend our coastline, moving forward to protect our wild salmon, and moving forward to restore science to the heart and core of decision-making in the Government of Canada.
I picked up all my things on Thursday from work, so I thought it was in the best interest of myself and also of Canada to resign early. I could have stayed until I was intending to resign in November, and I decided I'd leave early because I didn't want to be sidelined any longer. I wanted to speak before the election and speak about the things I care about deeply. So, thank you. So we've got a level here, and I just want to say a couple of little things. I guess I can hear the bass, We've got a little bit of a band here. So if the guitar sounds too loud out there, you can sort of, whoever's doing sound can kind of take it down a little bit. But I was thinking about this country. I've been interviewed a lot the last couple of days, you know, so I'm getting used to it now. I was thinking about the kind of Canada that we want, and the kind of leadership we want in Canada, and I think you know that we have this leadership that is appealing to our base instincts, of fear, hatred, selfishness, greed. That's what our government is doing to appeal to voters. And I think we're better than that. I know we're better than that. We want a leader who inspires us, who talks about cooperation, about fairness, about justice. So, and I know you think about that. Tell other people not to be sucked in by that appeal to our base instincts, because that's not the future of Canada. Canada is way better than that. Canada is about cooperation, about fairness, about justice, about how we can all work together for the better of the environment, for the better of our economy. So that's my little speech. Now let's sing. This is the most negative thing you're going to hear today, but we're going to sing it with joy. Yeah. And one last thing I wanted to say. Sky of blue and sea of green. Who controls our parliament? Harper Man, Harper Man. Who squashes all dissent? Harper Man, the Duffy handout incident. No respect for environment. Harper Man, it's time for you to go. Sing along. Who's the king of secrecy? Harper Man. Who has slashed the CDC? Harper Man. No money for PTSD. Accuses good Judge Beverly. Harper Man, it's time for you